What's going on, guys? Many day trades here, baby. So, one of the most frequent questions I probably get asked is, "What's the perfect setup, and how do I know it's the perfect setup?" It's kind of a tough question because there is no perfect setup to every trader, right? It's how well you're able to identify something, and even if you can identify, it's also how well you can execute. So what works for me or her or him might not work for, them, right? Vice versa. So you kind of have to, find identity for yourself, what you like to look for, um, and what you can execute on. I will say, my favorite is thin PA and boxes. It's very, very easily identifiable. It's, clean moves and clean TA. If you can find, bullish bearish pattern within, that's awesome. But, I'm going to show you a couple examples of what I mean by this, right? So, say to the short side, right, I look for things that have moved, unsustainable growth, right? So, um, clearly docu here. I mean, May 2020, we were trading at 66, and September 20, we were trading at 314. That is unsustainable growth. This is what I look for, right? So you made, 375% move in a year, right? Unsustainable. Now, what happens is, again, this is the unsustainable growth, right? You don't set any bases for moves up, right? You don't set any consolidations for levels. What you do is you create, what I call a thin PA, these volume gaps, right? So realistically, you have cluster right around this 187.80, right? Under that, you have your prior low, and under that prior low, is very, very thin. And, I wish I was on Twitter back here, but if DocU's trading at 190, I would have said, our real retest level is somewhere at 66. You guys would have called me crazy, right? Reason being is there is no PA, no levels created here. So when we get these moves, they're very drastic, right? I'm a trader. I like breakouts. I like retest. I like confirmation, right? These are so easily identifiable, so easy to play is for this reason, right? Unsustainable growth, or it would be unsustainable drops. So unsustainable growth, once I break my price action barrier, it'll fall fast and looking for the retest level. You guys see this, right? And again, 187.80, that's your price threshold. Now, under that, our next stop would be our next prior low. Break that. We have continuation for low and just start using levels, right? Now, here on the daily, the weekly, um, there's that 187.80 level. And then that prior low at 178, right? Look at this. There was no real basing, right? So, I mean, again, you can't just fall forever. So, what you do, falling, identify some bear flags, figure out how much we moved on that drop, identify that bear flag again, how much we move on that drop, right? But just identifying thin PA, very, very simple. You can do it on multiple time frames, whether it be monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15, 5 minute, I don't care. The bigger you go, the bigger moves you get, right? And again, this is real broad right here, right? I'm not going down into 1 hour and entry exit, just identifying, right? Identify this thin PA, try to find it with your eyes, right? Um, Again, we're just going to go through some, um, you know, plays like this where thin PA is easily identifiable, right? So, um, hmm, sorry, so here's another one, right? LRCX, right? So when you're looking at this name, pretty, straight up, pretty unsustainable growth, if you ask me, in these times we're in right now. And we made a 320% move from March 2020, January 2022, right? So 2 years, 320% growth, no real pullbacks, all rippers, right? So what happens here again is you don't really create levels, right? So, your real price threshold level would be that 521. Under that, let's go test our next, it's not even really a level here, but 460.62. Reason I say this is because once this breaks, our monthly candle is a straight bean, which means we did not really consolidate in November of 2020. We kind of just ripped straight up. So what tells me is our real retest of breakout is at 383.83, right? So we want to retest this level and bounce, and we can go push higher. But for now, once 460.62 breaks, 383 is my next level of retest, right? Thin PA, identify it, right? There is nothing here, right? Netflix is another good one, right? So again, trendy levels, all the same. So really, if you want to go here, this level right here, 452, 453, whatever it may be. Reason being is you get 1 wick, 2 wick, body, and then PA is pretty thin till these bodies of the candles, which happens to be these highs, right? So if I were to play this at 453 breakdown, my first target would be this cluster at 423. Under 423 gives us 386.36. Again, look at PA, right? Now it's starting to get a little heavy, but it still hasn't been seen since 2020. So, pretty empty pocket there. And we collapse on down here, right? Let's see. This one kind of works, but it's not that good. Shopify is a pretty good one, right? I mean, we do set some boxes and break them down, but really for what I'm trying to teach you guys for easily identifiable setups. So right here at 383.26, you have, wicks. This on the monthly time frame is a great support level. So what you do is, okay, let's look here. Where's our real retest happening, right? Well, Maddie, once we broke, right here we consolidated. This is the monthly time frame. You got a couple wicks and bodies here at 491, right? This is our breakout level, and we really never stopped, right? So once 883 breaks down, what do I notice? There's no PA, right? I have a wick here. So mark that. But under 383, we can play puts, targeting our prior low. If these prior low breaks, it really opens the gate down to 500, right? How do I say that? Well, no buyers really ever, or sellers never stepped in for that matter, right? It just was straight buyers. So what happens is to the downside, it's going to be straight sellers. Thin PA causes that, right? Haven't seen these levels since 2020, right? So play the breakdown, 883. Where's your retest levels? Somewhere down at 500, right? Thin PA, right? This is a little messy, but you can see it here. But just being able to identify where your thin PA is at is that's going to be the bread and butter, most easily identifiable breakouts, breakdowns, in my opinion. This is a good one too. So Roku, right? You got this. Let's go. Yeah, so you got this, real head height here, and then you have, something like this breakdown, right? Now look at this. Only green beans, right? So when this price threshold gets broken down, it's going to be straight red beans, right? So 294 entry. Need to break this low for continuation. If that low breaks, where is your retest on Roku, right? Well, when we broke out our prior all-time highs, ran up for that crazy run up, our breakout retest would be 153, right? So on the breakdown of 294.48, we see 270. 270 opens the gates to that 150. Again, monthly time frame, so I'm not saying it happens overnight, but these bigger time frames, you delete a lot of the noise, right? One last example here would be SE, right? Now this one's really, really interesting because this was, parabolic movement here. Really though, if you look, I mean, our real retest is somewhere down sub 30 levels, 52-ish. And again, look what happens. You don't create any levels to the upside. So guess what happens to the downside, right? You get real mean, violent jerks, right? Even if you really wanted to wait here, 187.75, right? Just play your prior low breaks, play your prior, you get a little threshold somewhere in here, but for the most part, right, it's, um, this one's not even boxy, it's just thin PA, so you're going to get, thin moves to the up and downside. Um, I can't stress enough the thin PA, the boxes, those are easily identifiable, and that's where it's easy identifiable, easy money. That's something that I really live by. So, bet your ass Oracle's coming down to 65, 57, 51, etc. Right? This is just real quick, right? I just wanted to show you guys there is no perfect setup.